Conservative new media viewers and JLin fans around the world, what is up? It's me, PFV Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to talk about things that happened in and after the Los Angeles Lakers game, which the Houston Rockets lost 99-98 in Houston in Game 6 of the 2013-2014 regular season. Now, I did not get to do a long video. Just didn't have time to do it. Was caught up with a whole bunch of other things. One of those things being doing a bunch of statistics research about Jeremy and making posts about that research. So, but we're still going to talk about stuff here. I'm just not going to go over the quarter by quarter stuff. Now, number one, the final play of the game in the Lakers game. The one where Steve Blake, well, not the final play, but the final play where the Lakers scored. The play where Steve Blake got free on a screen and hit the three-point shot. As I said in the comments of the short video for the Lakers game, this was not Jeremy's fault. Steve Blake was Jeremy's man, so that was the guy Jeremy was guarding. However, most of you know, Steve Nash set a pick on Jeremy, and so that locked Jeremy into his position. He couldn't get around the pick, and he particularly couldn't get around the pick because Steve Nash was grabbing him, holding him physically, which that happens, and it doesn't get called all the time, even though it's technically a foul. Calvin Murphy, who is a former Rockets player, Rockets legend, I believe, said after the game that it was Patrick Beverley's fault that Steve Nash got open. In other words, once Patrick Beverley's man, who was Steve Nash, set a pick on Jeremy, then Patrick Beverley should have switched out and guarded Steve Blake. And Jeremy said after the game, I believe, that the play called for Houston players to change defensive assignments if a pick was set or when a pick was set. So in that instance, Patrick Beverley should have taken Steve Blake on a switch. However, I think Patrick might have gotten screened a little bit himself. And so the third man involved in that play, if I remember correctly, was Dwight Howard. So if Patrick can't get out to Steve Blake, even though he's apparently supposed to on the switched defensive assignment, then someone else has to get out on him. And that somebody else may have been Dwight Howard. Whatever it was, I can tell you it wasn't Jeremy's fault. I know that. And there just looked like there was some miscommunication on the play on Houston's side. We don't have to sit here and who's to blame forever and ever. These things happen. Was it a mess up? Yes. Does it happen? Yeah. And so it was an unfortunate situation. The team was up by 7 points or so late. They should have won the game. And so it doesn't come down to one play. It's a whole bunch of plays during the course of the game, and unfortunately, it cost them. It cost the team, and they lost. But that's basically what happened on that final play. Again, not Jeremy's fault. The man should have probably been picked up by either Patrick Beverley or, I guess, Dwight Howard. Although I can't sit here and tell you from a scheme perspective that absolutely Dwight Howard should have been the guy that goes out and guards Steve Blake if Patrick Beverley can't get to him. That's the way it looked like on the play. Because Dwight, I think, was closest. And I think his man might have been close up to the play as well. It was a well-designed play. A lot of times coaches make their money by setting up plays like that. What I mean by make their money is some of the schemes and stuff and the X's and O's or motivating players might not be that hard. Some of what coaches do that separates good coaches from bad coaches is how they set up plays out of bounds or late game plays. That was a well-designed play, and the Lakers executed it well, even if Steve Nash grabbed Jeremy. So you got to give him credit. You don't want to put yourself in a position like that. The Rockets put themselves in a bad position, and they lost. And that's what happened. Now, as many of you know, and we will have a full set of information in the video description below the video player, including this incident or right before this incident, there was a report coming out after the game. And actually, I do not have it in the video description information, but it came from, I believe, a Yahoo Sports reporter saying that James Harden was yelling at Jeremy Lin late in the game. And there's actually another source who said the same thing. I believe in the article you will see in the video description, which includes a video, you will see right before that confrontation may have taken place. What happened, apparently, was that James Harden wasn't pleased with Jeremy Lin's shot near the end of the game. Now, I've looked at about a whole bunch of different perspectives on that play. There's people saying Harden didn't want to run the play, Harden wouldn't run the play, and he ignored Jeremy. There's a number of, or people are saying Harden did run the play, etc. Look, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. There are certainly people saying that Harden didn't run the play and didn't want to run the play. And maybe he didn't want to run the play because the play wasn't for him and he wanted the ball in his hands. And if he went and yelled at Jeremy after Jeremy's missed shot, then you would imagine that obviously he's blaming Jeremy. And we heard reports that coaches are yelling at Jeremy and da-da-da. Although I think I did hear something where Kevin McHale basically was talking with Jeremy or told Jeremy run plays, and Jeremy told him I am running plays. And then Harden, like they both kind of like shrugged their shoulders like, what are you going to do if Harden doesn't want to run the plays? Now again, I don't know the truth of any of this. I can look at video and speculate, and there are sources saying this. It does appear like James Harden yelled at Jeremy, and we have heard a lot of stuff about teammates and coaches yelling at Jeremy. I'll repeat what I said in a recent video about this subject. Maybe it was in the short video. I don't remember. When you lose, or when things are going tough, particularly when you lose to a team like the Lakers, who are not a good team, and there's a whole bunch of build-up for the game because of the Dwight Howard situation, and because James Harden's now ranked ahead of Kobe by ESPN as a shooting guard and as a player, and the game's on national TV, you're going to get this. This is going to happen. If things go poorly, this is going to happen. You're going to get yelling. You're going to get dissension. You're going to get angry feelings. And if James Harden is the man in Houston, and he's ranked as a top 5 player in ESPN, and the team's losing, well, he's going to want the final shot or the final 2 shots. And if he doesn't get them, and then the team doesn't score, he's going to be mad. Even if that's not warranted, even if it's not fair, the bottom line is the team and James Harden look like clowns because they lost to a team that came into the game losing on the road by 25 points. So everybody's upset, and things didn't look that good. So, look, I don't like that Jeremy is the whipping boy here, or the scapegoat, or everybody seems to be yelling at him. But as I mentioned the other day, and I know now I remember it was the long video for the Portland game, I think. Sometimes the lower guy on the totem pole, the low guy in the pecking order, gets the most grief. So as I said in that video, I can't yell at my boss, but I might yell at my coworker because I'm mad at the boss. Another thing that happens is sometimes people yell at guys that they think can take it. So if you have two coworkers and one's really volatile and they're high-strung, well, you might not yell at him because he might not handle it very well. So even if you're mad at him, you might yell at another coworker who's kind of calm and you think they can deal with it. Again, it's not fair, but this is kind of like workplace or human dynamics and interactions. This does happen. The great thing with Jeremy so far is he's handling everything well, and he's playing well. Last year, as we know, as we've discussed many, many times, he wasn't handling things well. By his own admission, in the summer, during his Christian testimonies, everything bothered him. He was too stressed out. He was taking everything too personally, and it affected him. It affected his life, and it affected his play on the court. Right now, Jeremy is playing incredibly well. So the great thing is that regardless of what's happening here, he's dealing with it pretty well, or he seems to be. Now, again, you don't want an abusive workplace environment, but this stuff, it does happen. And if you're in a situation like this, the best thing you can do is just roll with it. And look, if you've ever listened, or you've ever not listened, but you've ever read or heard about stories about like championship teams, like the Jordan Bulls, you hear all these stories. You hear that Michael Jordan punched Steve Kerr in the face in practice, or Michael Jordan did this with this player, or Kobe did this, or Shaq-Kobe feud. So things happen. You just don't always hear about them. The good thing about this situation, at least from Jeremy's perspective, or the perspective of his fans, is that you're hearing everything about it. And everybody's breaking down video like the Zapruder film of the JFK incident. So it's like there's so much attention on this now that if people are treating Jeremy badly, well, probably people are going to see that. Whether it's people looking at video or people that go to the games that post stuff on sites talking about what they saw and what they heard. So this isn't likely to continue for a really long time if it's happening in a bad way for Jeremy, because if it does, the people doing it are going to get exposed, which is kind of what's happening right now as regards James Harden. Whether that's fair or not, he's taking a bunch of criticism for this and for yelling at Jeremy. And Dwight Howard's taking some criticism along the same lines, which I will get to in a minute. Now, also James Harden's taking a lot of criticism for his play on the court. His defense, his leadership, or his lack of leadership, etc. So, if you're concerned about this being all laid at Jeremy's feet, all the problems, all the blame, all the yelling, well, the blame's starting to get spread around. Let me just put it that way. And as more light is shown on the situation, my guess is that people will be a little nicer to Jeremy, if for no other reason than what Awu mentioned in the comments not long before I'm making this video, saying, that's not going to look really good for people over in Asia who are like Jeremy Lin. So in other words, if you're James Harden and you're going on tours of Asia and you're going to the Philippines, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of stuff comes out about you yelling at Jeremy Lin, that might not work really well. And you might have to scale that back a little bit. So I think things are going to be fine. look, I thought about this. I've thought about the last, 24, 48 hours, whatever it is now. And I was really upset at first. And then I started thinking, you know what? I'm not sure why all this information's coming out. Why is it coming out now? Now, I know some of it, if people go to the games and they're Lin fans and they see Jeremy being yelled at, they're going to talk about it. But I'll talk about this more in a second with the Dwight Howard information in particular. I was curious why that came out when it did. And I have an idea of why it might have come out. Look, there are people talking about James Harden, see Carmelo Anthony. Jeremy's in a bad situation again. And I know I went to Twitter and was like, look, if the team's going to treat Jeremy like this, he needs to get out of there, this type of thing. So, but I feel better about it now. I feel a little bit more calm about it now with some time to reflect. Also in the game, some of the people that are not Lin fans were talking about, and Steve Kerr on the broadcast on TNT mentioned, hey, on one of the drives to the basket, Jeremy should have passed the ball to James Harden, and he didn't. Well, look, if you have the ball in your hand, you get to do what you want to do. And if you don't think someone's treating you real well, guess what? You're not passing them the ball. Maybe that's a little get back for them not passing you the ball. Now, I don't have any insight. I'm not in Jeremy's head. But these things tend to work themselves out. There's a saying that says, the players will police themselves. I mean, if someone's messing with you, there are ways to get back at them, like not passing them the ball on a fast break. So, we'll see. We'll see what's up. The good thing about that is, and again, I'm not saying Jeremy's doing that. I'm not trying to... This is all speculation, right? But, again, Jeremy's not a weak individual, regardless of what anybody thinks about him or this some of the narrative stuff out there. He's weak. No, he's not. So Jeremy can take care of himself, even if he's not the high man on the totem pole. If he knows he can. He's not a weak guy. He's much tougher than a lot of people think that he is. He's a nice guy, but he's not a weak guy. So, good. Now, getting to the Dwight situation, and you will see in the video description a video where Dwight and Jeremy were talking after the game. My understanding of that situation was that Jeremy probably thought Dwight should have gone out and guarded Steve Blake. And so they were having a discussion about that. Now, after the game, there were reports coming in, including one that I've put in the video description from somebody on ClutchFans who appears to have insider information. Supposedly, Jeremy was being yelled at by Dwight in the tunnel after the game. The tunnel meaning where the players walk through when they're leaving the court to go to the locker rooms. Okay, so first I heard that and I was really upset. And then I thought, well, the reason why Dwight might have yelled at him was because Jeremy was kind of taking him to task right at the end of the game on the court. In other words, it's kind of like, for people watching the game, it's like, yeah, it's kind of pointing out that Dwight might have messed up the play. Well, nobody likes that, especially in a huge game on national TV that's centered around Dwight Howard. The last thing Dwight Howard wants is to make it look like he messed up and the Lakers won in a game that was an embarrassing loss for the Rockets. So again, more of the heat of the moment stuff. Dwight I wouldn't be surprised if Dwight did yell at Jeremy. But this is just the normal stuff that happens when you lose when you have a bad loss on national TV in a huge game. It's going to happen. What I like with Jeremy is that he went and called out Dwight. So again, Jeremy's not weak. He went right to him. hey, dude, what are you doing? Or something along those lines. That's what it looked like. You can look for yourself. And I mentioned the other day that in the Clippers game, Jeremy did the same thing because he felt that Dwight Howard didn't help him guard Chris Paul on a play. So Jeremy's not weak. He's going to say stuff. Now, what I hope doesn't happen, and there was some thought about this in New York, when the Knicks played the Heat during Linsanity and Jeremy got shut down, there was a feeling that some of the players on the Knicks didn't help Jeremy out. Kind of the understanding being they wanted to make him look bad. So if Dwight and James are mad at Jeremy, like against the Clippers tonight, or they can just not help Jeremy out. You know what I mean? And as I said, these things happen. They happen all the time. You just don't know about them. And they don't get talked about a lot. Hopefully that won't happen. But things happen. The same way that Jeremy might not pass James Harden the ball in a fast break. And this stuff happens all the time. If you've ever played anywhere, you played on a team, if you've played on just the playground, this stuff happens all the time. You're mad at a guy and you're not passing him the ball. Or you're not going to help him out on defense. Or you're happy when his man makes him look bad. This happens constantly. So you just got to work through it. You just got to deal with it. Now, it also came out after the game that Dwight supposedly isn't happy with the point guard situation in Houston. Now, I talk about the timing of all of this. Why is this stuff coming out now? Why did the person who was the insider put the information out about Dwight Howard yelling at Jeremy right after the Lakers game? And I'll tell you why, or a potential reason why. The person who put the information out on ClutchFans, the insider person, my understanding is that they might have ties to the Lakers organization. So, you're the Lakers, and Dwight Howard left you, and you're not going to be very good this year. Now you go in and you beat Dwight. Maybe you just want to kind of just push on Dwight a little bit more. So if you wanted to make Dwight look a little bit worse than he already does after you beat him on national TV, what might you do? You might go to the Rockets board, one of the most popular Rocket sites on the internet, or probably the most popular, and just drop a little inside information about how Jeremy was being yelled at by Dwight Howard, because you know how popular Jeremy is. So that's something that could be done just to kind of shove Dwight Howard to the ground a little bit more. This type of thing happens all the time. When you get little leaks of information that are strategically timed. And that's how it can happen. And that wouldn't surprise me if that's what happened. It also wouldn't surprise me with the Yahoo writer who said the thing about James Harden. In other words, you have people in the media or people around the league who might not want to see Houston do well, or who might want to not see Dwight do well. So what do? You cause dissension. You wait until the team is at a bad moment, and then you drop some information to help sow dissent. Like Harden's yelling at Lin. Like Dwight's yelling at Lin. Like Harden's not running plays. That's what this feels like to me. So once I stepped back and looked at it, I was like, this just doesn't feel right. This feels like a setup. And I think that's what it is. There are a lot of people around the league that don't like the Rockets. And many of those people are Lakers fans, or they're people in the media that might have a fondness for the Lakers. So a whole bunch of stuff comes out right around when the Lakers play the Rockets, and the Lakers beat the Rockets. So I'm going to take all this with a grain of salt. Look, if people yelled at each other, then they yelled at each other, and that's not good. But let's not go too far with this. I think there might be some saboteurs in the midst. Let's just put it that way. So with Dwight coming out and saying that he's not happy with the point guard situation, remember, that happens after this same game. It happens after Jeremy goes up to him on the final play, probably saying, dude, what'd you do? And that happens and everybody sees it. So then Dwight might be striking back, saying, yeah, I'm not really happy with the point guard situation. This is how you use media contacts, or how you use sources to sway the public. So these are like power plays. Oh, you're going to call me out? Well, guess what? I'm going to say that I'm not happy with the point guard situation. I'm going to strike back at you through the media. I'm going to strike back at you through the internet. This is why I talk about my familiarity with the media and with public relations. You have to understand how these games are played. And if you don't know how they're played, it won't necessarily make a lot of sense to you. I'll give you another example of this that happened after this game. After the game, Kobe Bryant, who didn't sit out on the court. Usually Kobe will sit out on the court with the team a lot of times. Well, he didn't do that in the Houston game. You want to know why, in my opinion? Because he didn't want to be there on camera when the Lakers lost and Dwight won. But the Lakers won. And so Kobe supposedly greeted all his teammates, big smiles afterwards. Yay, he beat Dwight. Yay, yay, yay. After the game, apparently, Kobe said to a reporter, yeah, I think Dwight's going to have a huge year and average 25 points per game. That's a little dig at Dwight. That is what is known as the expectations game. Dwight's not going to average 25 points per game, especially not playing with James Harden. Kobe knows that. What Kobe's trying to do is get Houston fans' hopes up that Dwight's going to dominate with points. And then when Dwight doesn't dominate, then Houston fans are mad at Dwight. So this is how the games work. This is how you use the media and you use sources and you use the internet to kind of strike out at people. Dwight is good at this. I noticed this during all the issues with the Lakers last year. Dwight has people in the media and people on the internet that will protect him and that help him. And I'm happy for that. That's good. But if Dwight gets mad at Jeremy, then you might see some of this stuff like he's not happy with the point guard situation. Now, I think a lot of this is nonsense. I think it's overinflated. I think there are saboteurs in the midst in terms of people trying to cause dissension in the Rockets on the outside. There are people with their own interest, like Dwight Howard, maybe pushing back on Jeremy with the point guard comment. And also James Harden after the game, I believe, said something like he's not happy with teams fouling Dwight late. That might have been a little strike back at Dwight, like, dude, make your free throws. So this happens all the time. And with the internet age, it will happen more and more and more. So I hear it, I see it, but a lot of it's just noise. I can't pay too much attention to it. There could be more to it. Maybe we're seeing things here. Maybe Harden's the mastermind behind Patrick Beverley starting and Jeremy to the bench. Would that surprise me? No. There's a lot of political games that go on in the NBA and around the NBA. What happened with Carmelo and Jeremy in New York, apparently, if I remember correctly, and I'm not, this is just my recollection, and I could be wrong, but I remember somebody speculating at the time that the dissing of Jeremy in New York could have been orchestrated possibly by the agency that Carmelo is affiliated with, which I believe is Creative Arts Agency, CAA, who I believe they are a very powerful agency as regards the NBA and NBA players. In other words, the thinking was, if I remember it correctly, was that CAA didn't want Carmelo's star diminished by Jeremy. And so they're going to move to kind of make Jeremy look bad. Did that happen? I have no idea. Would it surprise me if it happened? No. Do I think something like that might have happened? Yes. So these things do happen, and it goes higher up than the players. It can be the players' agents or their agencies. These things do happen. They happen all the time. You have to understand what they are when you're seeing them, though, to understand who's really behind these things. So, in summary, about the team drama in the Lakers game. It was a bad loss. They should not have lost this game. But they put themselves in a position to lose it. And the Lakers made a play. Whoever, no matter who messed up at the end. I don't care whose fault it was. You lost, move on. And next time, try to get it right. I'm not buying into the super drama storyline. Do I think there's drama on the team? Yes, because there's big egos on the team in Harden and Howard. But that's the way it is. When you get two guys that are generally considered to be top 10 players in the league or have been, you're going to get that. I can tell you right now, I've been a Rockets fan for 25, 30 years. I remember when there was drama with Akeem. There was this whole issue about Akeem hurt his hamstring, but it's not really hurt, and he's not playing because he's mad. It happens. So as I've told you guys before, don't worry about it. And Akeem's basically regarded now as almost like a saint. And he's a great guy, but this stuff happens. It does happen the same way that it happens to you at your office. Because you're mad at a coworker or a coworker's working against you. This stuff just happens. It's going to happen, and it happens. Good teams get beyond it. And hopefully the coaches and the coaching staff need to get it under control. So Kevin McHale and the organization, if something is happening, you need to pull the reins in on the horse and control it. Look, this is a young team. It's a new team in terms of Dwight just joined it. And there's some growing pains here. Earlier, before the season began, I would go on RealGM, and I said that I thought the Rockets would get to the second round of the playoffs and not any further. Not because they're not talented, but because they're new to each other and they're young. You have to go through these issues before you can become a championship contender, oftentimes. There are exceptions, like the Boston Celtics in 2007, 2008. But that was a much different situation. You had three veteran players in Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett, who they were ready to win right now. And they had put all drama behind them to win right now. Well, I don't necessarily think that's the case with the Rockets. And that's to be expected. The drama is to be expected. Hopefully, it will be minimized and people will get their houses in order and stop leaking information. And we can all move on. But anytime you get a bad loss and an embarrassing loss, like this loss was, you're going to get this, particularly in the age of social media. Somebody will do this to try to protect their guy's image. As I've told you guys before, if you work for the media, if you work for a team, you've got to kind of do what the team wants you to do and say what the team wants you to say. Well, if you're a source in the media who's close to a player, or you're a person on the internet who is close to a player, you're going to put out the story that your guy wants out there. So bad loss happens. Maybe Dwight wants somebody to say he's not happy with the point guards. Maybe James Harden wants somebody to say that he's not happy with the Dwight Howard foul shooting situation. So it's going to happen. Just got to ignore it. Just ignore it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how things go from the drama perspective going forward. But I'm not worried about it, the same way I wasn't worried about it in the long video for the Portland game. I wasn't happy about it right after the game. I wasn't. And I said that on Twitter. But looking at it a little bit more, I'm like, nah, this is like high school gossip. This is nonsense. So let's just move on from here. Okay. Second thing. I did make 2 posts yesterday. You will find information about them in the video description with extensive statistics research regarding Jeremy and how well he has begun the season. One of those posts was made on the site RealGM, which I really like that forum a lot. Now, people have told me when you sign up, either it's a pain to sign up, like Tom was telling me, and somebody else told me when you sign up, you have to wait 100 days to post. Look, I encourage people to join RealGM. I primarily post on that site in the general NBA board. I can tell you that's probably the best general purpose basketball NBA site on the internet. And there are many people in the NBA media that go through there and read that site and post on that site. They don't post under their own names, and I can't prove to you who they are, but I know there's media people there. I can tell. I know some of them are there. And I know they read the site. Bill Simmons talks about reading the site. So if you want to participate in a discussion that's viewed a lot and is viewed by influential people, I would definitely tell you to go join RealGM, even if it's annoying to sign up and you have to wait 100 days to post. I post on that site as HotRocks34. My avatar is a little avatar of Akeem Olajuwon, or a cartoon representation of Akeem Olajuwon with a number 34 jersey. So that's the first place I posted about. And what I did in that post was I put statistics about Patrick Beverley and Jeremy. Now, again, to be fair to Patrick Beverley, he's new to the league. He's not used to starting, and he's coming back from an injury. So, again, as I've told you guys, I don't want to trash Patrick Beverley. I like Patrick Beverley. It's not about Patrick Beverley. It's more about being fair to Jeremy and some of the misinformation that's put out there about Patrick versus Jeremy. So the RealGM post has a lot of comparisons between Patrick and Jeremy. But again, I don't want to trash Patrick Beverley. I like Patrick. I've written to Patrick on Twitter, told him I like him, told him I support him, and told him that Lin fans should support him. So Patrick's not making the decisions here. Patrick didn't decide to start Patrick over Jeremy. Patrick's a guy that's gone through a bunch of stuff, had to play over in Europe. Nobody wanted him in the NBA, and he made his way back. I'm happy for him. He's a good American success story, just like Jeremy is. So let's be nice to Patrick. That's my advice on that. The second statistics post that I made was on ClutchFans, and it is a thread over there called Jeremy Lin's terrific 6-game start to the 2013-2014 season. You also find information for that in the video description. The two posts, the one on RealGM and the one on ClutchFans, are not the exact same post. There's different information in the two posts. So if you want a bunch of statistics about Jeremy and how well he's playing right now, I would recommend reading both of them, because you'll find a whole bunch of stuff in both of them. Also, a friend of mine and ours at CNM did a translation of those statistics post into Mandarin, meaning into Chinese language. So if you know people who are more comfortable reading in Chinese and Mandarin than in English, and you want to share that post with them, then I would recommend go and look at that person's post. They've done a great job for us. They continue to do a great job for us, and we really appreciate their help. They're an awesome Jeremy Lin fan, as there are many awesome Jeremy Lin fans, and they put a lot of work into that, and they put a lot of work into our translations, period. But so if you want to share that on sites, we know that because of the work that this person does in translating, some of our material gets onto sites in China, sites in Taiwan, sites all over the world that are primarily in Mandarin. So if you want to share it with people who speak Mandarin, please feel free to do so. If you're more comfortable reading Mandarin than English, then I'd definitely go check out that post on the statistics. Now, it was said after the game, I guess, or the day after, that Jeremy hurt his elbow, his shooting elbow, which means the elbow on the arm that he shoots the ball with, which would mean his right elbow. My guess is that he hurt it when he had that hard fall, when he was driving to the basket. Hopefully Jeremy can get better and better at taking falls better. As we know, he falls hard. He did practice yesterday, I believe, and he is scheduled to participate tonight. Hopefully the elbow injury won't affect his shooting too much, because he's shooting great. So hopefully that won't influence his shooting mechanics too much and have him miss shots. Jeremy also mentioned in the practice video, which I did not put in the video description, but you can go and see it if you go over to NBA.com and go to Rockets, which is Rockets.com. It's great work there done by Jason Friedman. There is, and others, I'm not, there might be other people as well as Jason writing there and doing work there. You will see video from practice, I guess, on 11/8/13. So you can see the video there. Jeremy also said in the video that he spoke with his agent recently. Now, people were speculating, oh, that means he's going to get traded or he wants out of Houston because of the drama. Maybe. I have no idea. I don't know everything about players and their relationships with agents and how often they speak with them, but my guess is they talk to them a fair amount about different things. Could be about a endorsement opportunity. So your agent might call you up about, hey, we got contacted by company X and they want you to do a commercial for them. So it might not be anything. It might not have anything to do with drama. I don't know. I have no idea. I also noticed in that video that Jeremy talked about playing with the second unit. So again, Jeremy's calm about his role. He knows the team wants to start Patrick, or try it at least. Give Patrick a shot the way that they gave Jeremy a shot last year. Jeremy's at peace with that. And look, Patrick deserves a shot. We might not like that as Lin fans, but based upon all the statistics, and I did, again, in looking at statistics, if you look at the statistics from 2012 and 2013, meaning last year, you would start Patrick Beverley over Jeremy Lin. Now, Jeremy was hurt last year, coming off of injury, And Patrick's new to the league, and he hasn't really been scouted by teams. So that might not hold up. However, I understand why the team would at least want to try that. And that's not even to mention that if you think Jeremy's better, or his scoring's better, or he's a better fit without Harden on the floor, well, you still might have him play sixth man. So the good thing to do in this circumstance is don't freak out about it. And Jeremy's not freaking out about it. So he just seems very calm. He accepts what the team's doing right now, and that's good because that's how you're going to play your best. As I mentioned earlier in the video, and as we've mentioned many times, Jeremy was under too much pressure last year, and mostly pressure he put on himself. Now he's just playing. In fact, someone mentioned his statistics to him, one of the reporters in the video, and said, I don't want to hear the numbers. He doesn't want to think about anything. He just wants to play. So once you start thinking about things, you think too much. The problem for intelligent people, really intelligent people, and Jeremy's a pretty smart guy, is when you start thinking too much. And I think that's what happened to him last year. So now he's just trying to stay away from that. Don't listen to anybody. Don't listen to your supporters. Don't listen to Doubter Nation. Don't know the statistics. Just play. That's what Jeremy seems to excel when he's like that. And I think that's what he's doing now. And that was reflected in the practice video yesterday. Now, James Harden apparently hurt his foot in the Lakers game, and they weren't sure if he was going to play tonight. But the latest word is that he expects to play tonight. Of course, tonight is the rematch with the Clippers and Chris Paul. Chris Paul has come down to earth a little bit in his play. First 4 games of the season, which the 4th game being against Houston, Chris Paul was playing like Michael Jordan, or playing like, the greatest player that ever lived. Now he's fallen off a little bit. So hopefully the team and Jeremy can do better against him tonight. And I'm sure the team will be motivated for tonight. 1, because they want to beat the Clippers for the embarrassing loss to them. And 2, because they want to beat somebody after losing to the Lakers. So I'm expecting a good game tonight. The team needs to get off to a fast start. Or at least don't get off to a slow start. Meaning, if you're not going to be up by 10 points in the first 6 minutes of the game, don't be down by 10 points. Try to at least be even. This is an issue for the team. It's been an issue all year. We will see what happens tonight. The Rockets, I believe, are the favorite in the game to win. And I'm looking forward to it. I expect a lot more effort and focus, particularly on defense in this game than what we saw in the first Clippers game. Although, as I said, Jeremy played well in the game. Particularly played well on offense. So hopefully we will see more of that tonight. Okay, it is 3 p.m. here on the East Coast of the United States on Saturday, November 9th, 2013. It's about 5 hours before game time right now. And that means it is 4 a.m. early Sunday, November 10th in Taipei, Taiwan. The game is tonight at 8 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States, which means it will take place at 9 a.m. in Taipei, Taiwan on Sunday, November 10th. Thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. I will try to come down to the comments when I can. It's been super busy. It's very difficult for me to get to all the comments and to get to everybody on Twitter. But I'm doing my best, and so ask you guys to be patient, or if I don't get to respond to you, it's not a personal thing. I just get overwhelmed with stuff. So we'll just do the best that we can with that. Come and join us on the Conservative in the Media Facebook group. We have over 2,500 members there and counting. We'd love to have you come in and be part of that. Also, come and follow us on the CNM JLin Videos Twitter account. Both of those things you will find information for in the video description as well. Again, I am PFV Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Let's move on, folks. Let's move on. Let's beat the Clippers tonight. Hopefully Jeremy can continue to play well. He is playing incredibly well. He's top 10 for point guards in PER, player efficiency rating, right now. He's number 5 in the NBA in points per field goal attempt, which basically means how efficient are you at scoring. He's crushing right now. So don't listen to doubters or anybody. He's doing great, and he's doing great on defense. He's just playing great. And he's consistent this year. It's one of the things, if you look at the post on ClutchFans, read the first post, but then go down. Go to the thread and go down, because someone mentioned consistency on the first page, and I responded to that. Jeremy is playing very consistently now, game to game. He was able to do that in April of 2013, so at the end of last season, and now he's doing it again. This is what we want to see. This is what he needs to do to take the next step, and he's taking it. So this is great, and I'm looking forward to tonight's game. Okay, hope everybody's having a great night, a great day, wherever you are around the world. When you're watching this video, I want to say a special thought to Jeremy's fans and our fans in the Philippines. I wasn't paying attention to a lot of stuff, but I know about the typhoon there. John told me about it, and our sincere condolences to everybody affected by that tragedy. It's just, I hope people are okay. Again, our condolences to the people affected by that natural disaster. And, hopefully things can be as good as they can be moving forward from that. Take care of yourselves. We will talk to you soon. And, again, let's look forward to a good game tonight and hopefully a win by the team. Talk to you soon.